It's time. Time to play the game. Time to play the game! Is anyone else getting that meme? I've had that on my feed, I guess, for a while lately. I don't know if you guys have had that, but I have. 3 minutes past 10 in the evening. Welcome one and all to the Everything GM broadcast and another world of tabletop RPGs. Today we're going back to the D&D 2024 Player's Handbook. We're looking at the change logs. There's going to be some really interesting stuff in there. We got a couple of classes that we haven't looked at yet. Sorcerer, Cleric, Monk, Wizard, Barbarian, Fighter. And that's a lot of classes. So it's going to be a fun stream. Very jam-packed. I've got something very interesting beforehand, which I hope Thomas is here to is here to witness. I shall wait for him to announce himself before I do, because he specifically requested that I do this on stream in front of people. So once he announces it, I shall do so. Might be better to wait and give other people a good chance to come and say hi, of course. But for now, however you're engaging with this content, I hope that you're doing really, really lovely. But if you're not, that's okay too. And if you're watching the VOD, if you are lurking here, if you're active in chat, it doesn't matter. Just know that you are very, very welcome here. Now 4 minutes past 10. I'm having a good day today. I've played some Kingdom Come, and also, first people to hear about this, I actually think I might have gotten a part, my first voice acting part, freelance, as an audiobook, like voiceover for a small thing that someone is asking for. I still have to negotiate a contract, but it's a project, and I'm just happy to just happy to have that. So I'm hoping that will be successful, and that I'll have a little bit of money to fund my life for a while longer. And yeah, hopefully that's the first of a couple more successes in my future. So yay me. Hello. You've evolved into the epic Tupolev. Very good. Very good. Hello. Aracheesy, hi. Oh wait, well, we've done a thing. I don't know, well, we were off stream. I've realized that I've been pronouncing her name fairly incorrectly, but it's okay because she likes the incorrect pronunciation. So now I've decided to just pronounce it any way I like. And every time it's going to be different. And we've had some creative ones. I don't know what you were referencing, but I do know you just... I will spare everyone else who can hear but not see the chat what you have just brought them. And know that the music playing in the background is an accurate representation of the doom that I will foist upon you for all that you have just done. Do you know how long it has been? For those of you who cannot see the message or don't know what he's talking about, just don't even do it. Don't join. You win by not joining. All right? Motherfucker. I'm waiting for you to pronounce mine as Tupolev. Tupolev? Sure. I'll say that. Yes, Thomas. Would you like me to wait until more people have arrived, if they will, or would you like me to would you like me to keep it under wraps for now and then wait until the moment of truth? You decide. Okay, I will check that. Right. Everyone, please do let me know your mental health out of 10, your physical health out of 10. I'd love to know how you're doing today, and what's been going on. That'd be really fun. Yeah. Also, I wish I knew how to check. I wish I knew how to do. You know, there's one thing on OBS that just doesn't work. And I wish it did. And that was, that's chat. I can't put chat up on my screen. Now, usually I just like it being myself. Like, that's fine. but also like having chat up on screen can be nice. So yeah, I don't know. I might do it in the future, but we'll see. 7 out of 10 working from home. It's pretty chill. Okay, well that's good. My internet is shitting itself again. Main reason why I sometimes leave and rejoin. Oh, fair enough. Fair enough. Well, good thing we're not playing board games today. Hello, Ash.
Hello.
Welcome. Welcome indeed. It's
Welcome.
lovely to see you. How are you today?
I'm good. How are you?
Very good. I'm doing okay. We have 6 whole classes left to look at today, which is a lot. And kind of doesn't feel right because I feel like we did more. Are there 12? How many classes are there in D&D? I thought there were 10. No, 10 races. There might be 12 classes. Because we've done Rogue, Paladin, Ranger, and then we did Bard, Warlock, and something else. Hang on. D&D 5e classes. Oh, Druid. Okay. How many are there? 1, 3, 6, 9, 12. There. Oh, Artificer makes 13. So there are 12. Okay, so we've done 6. We got 6 left. Okay, sick. 7 out of 10. Working from home is pretty
Star
chill.
Wars
Okay,
Outlaws.
sick. No! I hate it. What did you get Ubisoft Plus so that you don't have to pay an arm and a leg, or did you just pay? For
Yes.
Free? Okay, so you did it through Ubisoft Plus. Okay.
Yeah.
Is it a good trade? Like you still get full access to the game. Like there's nothing.
Yeah, you still get like the full like base game and stuff.
It's pretty crazy that well, this means that tomorrow I will download it and install it, and then on Thursday we'll play it. Because if I just pay for Ubisoft, what is it, a month?
Yeah, it's like a month at a time.
$18 a month. Okay, that's. Do you know? Like, I could just play. But here's the problem, though. Like, what if I pay it and I want the game? What if I really want the game, and then I want to keep it? Then I have to pay for a month and I have to buy the game. That's
true.
That's upsetting. So I might just hold off. But
you've also got to figure out how long is it going to take to complete as well. How many months are you going to have to pay?
That's very true. I don't usually repeat games. But if it's the only game I play, I won't complete it. I won't take a long time to complete it. How long have you been going for it? Like how many hours have you put into it so far?
I started like fairly recently.
What is fairly recently? Like yesterday or like today?
No, as in like today, like not that long ago.
Oh wow, okay. And
I'm still like in the like prologue kind of.
Oh wow, okay. Give me the verdict so far. What do you feel? What do you think about it? Is it?
I mean, it already definitely feels very Star Wars, which is good for a Star Wars game.
Lovely, very good. I need you to know how much I just got, like the shot to the heart that I received the moment you told me that you were playing it, because I've been thinking about it quite literally all week. Like, it's been my primary thought. I haven't been able to get it out of my head. I'm so excited for it, and I have to wait until the Saturday stream before I can fucking play it. So, well, unless, of course, I pay for Ubisoft Plus, and then I can get it now. But, yeah, we'll see. Yeah, so it feels like Star Wars, and?
I mean, yeah. There's not much I can say at the moment, because I've just started.
You're still in the prologue.
Yeah.
But it feels good so far.
Oh, I'm already in love with Nyx, my little weird axolotl.
Phenomenal, incredible,
puppy.
Adorable. I'm so excited. Yes, an axolotl puppy. Very good.
You can give him pets whatever you want.
No.
Yes.
Ah, so cute. Very nice. Very nice.
The hacking is a little weird because you'll probably like it because it's a bit like a rhythm game.
I've been told it's a rhythm game. Yeah, I looked up I looked up a website online that says like 13 tips before you start Outlaws, and one of them said disable the hacking game because it's a rhythm game, and I'm like, wait, why? What's wrong with you? Why would you disable it? That sounds like so much fun. Does it feel like Ubisoft's other games, like Assassin's Creed? Does it have a Ubisoft stamp on it yet? Like, can you tell? Or is it just like a game, just like a Star Wars game? Because like because
So
I
far,
know you're pretty much the authority in my circle on Ubisoft games because you are a big fan of the Assassin's Creed franchise.
I mean, so far it doesn't really feel like the recent Assassin's Creed games.
Okay, interesting. Not that that's a bad or a good thing. I'm just interested. Yeah, I'm so hyped. I don't know what to do with myself now. So actually, I don't really. I like on stream right now. I just want to stop the tabletop and just go and pay for Ubisoft Plus, and then we can just play Outlaws. That'd be fun. And now I have to sit and talk about tabletop while I know in my head that Ash is playing Outlaws next to me.
Yep.
All right.
That I am.
Well, that's fun. Enjoy that. Great.
I will.
I have to see. I like owning something, but also, do we really own things when they're digital content? So yeah. How big is it, by the way? Is it like 100 gigs?
No, it was only like 50.
What? That's very surprising.
Yeah.
Cool. Awesome. Okay. It's not just massive size. Awesome. 10 races. Does it include Formula 1? Yes. And Formula 2. Don't forget that.
Oh.
Yeah. Hey, hi Valerie. It's been a while. All right. So now that you're all here, I'm going to take some time and read something that Thomas has asked me to read. It's an Amazon review. He sent me this, and I don't really like... I don't know what it is. I haven't seen it yet. I might have read it before, but we will see. I might have read it before. Because I've read, like, it's apparently like a very funny Amazon review. Thomas, are you still here? Tell me you're still here. You got to be here for this, obviously. I haven't read it before, but it's one of those funny reviews, and we're gonna read it together because I was told that that it should be me to read it, and that sounds nice. So that is what I'm gonna do. We're gonna go here. I'm gonna get us some nice chill music that we can you know, read with, and then here we go. There's my screen. Let's see what we got. All right, so here it is. It's a review for Haribo, the bears, the teddy bears. And now, I don't know about you, but I think Haribo is phenomenal. I love Haribo. And so here we go. Also, this is a definite mature warning. Apparently, there's some pretty interesting descriptions that are not for sensitive audiences, so do exercise discretion where you can. I have not, like I said, for the manyth time, I haven't read this before, so if you take offense to any of this, please go after Thomas and direct all hate mail towards him. I'll put his address in the description of this video so that you can go after him whenever you please. You might have to buy a plane ticket, though. So, this is Jeffrey Lambert's customer review for Haribo Bears. Hell holds no surprises for me anymore. This is an actual Amazon review. Here we go. And apparently I'm supposed to read it quite dramatically. This is a cautionary tale. And, unlike most of the other reviews on this product, this is a true story. And its authenticity can be qualified by a small news item that appeared in the Toronto Star's local news section during the month of April in 2013, much to my chagrin. I would consider myself a prudent man, not given to bouts of outspokenness or craving attention, and certainly not one to rock the boat. On any given day, I can be found reading a crime novel on a park bench in the middle of the city, soaking in the opulence of nature, while nibbling on my tuna fish sandwiches and fending off the voracious gulls and squirrels that threaten to spoil my repose. This is me, law-abiding and introspective. Which is why it came as a shock to me to find myself incarcerated, because of the devil's confectionery, Satan's sweetmeat, Lucifer's lozenges, the horror that is known as Haribo sugar-free gummy bears. This is crazy. Haribo's good. It's so tasty. I'll set the scene. It was late winter, early spring in Toronto, and the city had just been digging itself out from a late-season snowstorm. I was headed to Pearson International Airport for a red-eye flight to Amsterdam in order to give the Dutch arm of our company some training on the new software that had been installed. I'm deliberately being vague to prevent my place of work from being linked in any way to the incident that occurred. I had just finished packing, checking the time, and found I was running late. My flight was at 7:10 p.m., and it was now almost 5. Cursing softly, I ran out to the car and threw my bags in the trunk, hitting the gas a little harder than usual in my haste to make it to the long-term parking lot as soon as possible. Luckily, traffic was light on the 401, and I made it to the airport in record time, but knew that my chances of making the flight were still at risk if I didn't use my time wisely. I hadn't eaten since lunch, and I was feeling a bit hungry, my stomach rumbling loudly in protestation, which caused me to look around at the other travelers rushing past me in the busy terminal, mortified that my bodily noises might be heard by others. I briskly checked my watch and decided that I had enough time to grab a quick snack before going through the baggage check and security, and would get something more substantial once I was checked through security. I spotted a vending machine nestled in a relatively low traffic corner of the terminal and rushed over, already pulling out my credit card and mentally assessing what I had a craving for so as to save time interacting with the machine. My eyes scanned the colorful array of confection quickly, coming to rest on a tantalizing, rainbow-colored bag of gummy bears with the simple white and red logo, Haribo, emblazoned across the bag in what appeared to be a slightly tweaked Helvetica rounded font. This is a product review. I just want you to know, this has already taken about 30 minutes to write. Now I'd like to pause here in the story for a moment to underscore the importance of making proper choices. I was hungry. When you're hungry, you should eat food. Food is defined as a nutritious substance that people consume to maintain life. This is what food is. These days, the definition of the word food has been bastardized, and the meaning has been broadened to include veritably any material that can be digested, or rather, chewed and swallowed without causing death or severe illness. Haribo sugar-free gummy bears are not food. They aren't even from this planet. I imagine their origins being conceived in a ballroom in hell by a top team of creative pain administrators, with senior-level demons rubbing their hands together in ghoulish delight as hell's chief chemist slowly lifts the veil on their new creation. What's happening? Hello, Chris. The point here being, I made a very, very, very poor choice. I pushed the button, and the vending machine ejected the brightly colored bag into my awaiting hands. I'd always liked gummy bears. They were bright but rather innocuous. They weren't overly sweet so as to become cloying. And of course, each candy came in the visage of a rather happy, docile bear, reminiscent of the picture one's mind's eye holds of all anthropomorphic bears, from Yogi to Winnie. The way I figured it, I was taking a bit of a holiday from life, so I could relax my fastidiously regimented daily schedule a little to allow for some frivolity. After all, I was going to be in Amsterdam come morning with 16 hours to kill before I had to be training the Dutch employees. Maybe I would take a trip down to one of the coffee shops in the red light district and really let my hair down. No, I wouldn't do that. I would see that area of the city from the bus as I went to the hotel, where I would eat at the hotel restaurant and drink sparkling water. So I'd better enjoy the gummy bears, my one extravagance to commemorate my break from routine. So brave. I joined the queue in the KLM line, which was mercifully short, most likely because all of the passengers for my flight had already been checked through as the flight was scheduled to depart in an hour. I checked my watch again, frowned, and absent-mindedly opened the bag of Haribo sugar-free gummy bears, and began to munch on them as the line slowly advanced. To be fair, they tasted fine, just like every other manufacturer's brand of the colorful candy, and they were sugar-free to boot. This is what made the whole incident that followed so baffling. If they tasted off or different, I most likely wouldn't have continued to shovel them into my mouth absent-mindedly while daydreaming about what I would order to eat from room service in my hotel in Amsterdam. As I gave the attendant my e-ticket and she weighed my bags, the first of the pains began in my stomach. I thought nothing of it at first, chalking it up to the fact that I needed something more substantial than gummy worms to tackle my hunger. But over the course of the next 5 minutes, the shooting pain began to come in more rapid succession. At this point, I had my boarding pass printed, and rubbing my stomach a little, I proceeded to security. I briefly entertained the thought of trying to find a restroom before going through security, but at that point, my discomfort was manageable, and I didn't think it would get any worse. Certainly not within the amount of time it would take to clear security. This is an entire novel, dude. What? Jesus! Alright. Is this just gonna be the whole stream? Here we go. Also, by the way, if this was food poisoning, it wasn't the Haribo. Food poisoning doesn't act that fast. So I feel like this is maybe an injustice towards Haribo, but here we go. A late addition to the player's handbook. Yes, this is the magic item, Haribo sugar-free gummy bears. Don't worry, this is TTRPG stuff. I joined the line and started fishing for my passport to present to the agent checking tickets. I felt a thin sheen of sweat break out on my forehead and underarms, and my features flushed for a moment as a wave of heat washed over me. I didn't pay it much heed, as going through security always caused me great anxiety, and I chalked it up to pre-flight jitters. It was only as I stood face to face with the agent and handed her my passport and ticket that I had a glimpse of the agony that was about to begin. It felt like time rippled for a moment, as if my consciousness buckled, so intense was the pain that fired through my bowels. Oh, I feel this, by the way. I've had shoots of pain like that. I grimaced spastically and emitted a low moan, and felt myself take an involuntary step sideways. Stars shot through my head briefly, and my vision blurred and then snapped back into focus. The agent was staring at me with slight consternation, and asked me if I was all right. I pulled myself together, stood up straight, and declared that I was fine, mortified that I'd had a lapse of decorum not only in public, but at the security clearance in an airport. As I fumbled off my belt to go through the metal detector, the pain in my stomach increased, and I practically had to sit on the floor to take my shoes off, terrified of what would happen if I bent at the middle to do it. It was becoming increasingly more evident to me that this wasn't just a stomachache. No, this was something much worse. As a child, I had had a bout of diarrhea after a trip to Mexico with my family. Wow, you remember that? I remember the feeling of nausea that swept through me before my child self had surrendered to the gas pains and parked myself on the toilet for an hour, shitting until I felt like I didn't have any bones left. And that was how I was feeling now, with several key differences. The pain was worse. The sense of an impending bowel movement was so formidable, it gave me temporary amnesia, and it took all of my willpower, all of it, to clench my butt cheeks together to prevent my sphincter from exploding. Nice. A sudden shock of pain racked my body, and I half wondered if I was going to give birth to a Tasmanian devil. The crazy, fever-induced image of said cartoon animal chasing Bugs Bunny through the splashy, volcanic shit kettle that was my stomach caused me to elicit— I was waiting for the funny part— causing me to elicit a short, maniacal bark of laughter as I approached the metal detector, a wild, distant look in my eyes, sweat now beginning to pour off of me like a long-distance runner in Kenya. That's specific. The security agent on the other side of the detector shot a quick glance over to her co-worker, who narrowed his eyes and made a subtle movement towards his holster. My breathing became uneven as I entered the metal detector, and I realized with alarm that I had taken off my socks without even registering it, and one of my shirt tails was untucked at the front. I held my breath, my eyes bulging dangerously from my head as the machine scanned me. As I shakily moved forward towards the agent for a pat-down, my stomach began to elicit sounds that can only be described as otherworldly. It started off a sort of bubbling sound heard from afar, and grew in pitch and intensity at an alarming rate. My jaw dropped in shock, as what I can only describe as the sound of an agonized wailing alley cat in heat with a persistent Doppler effect added to its voice emitted from some nether region of my intestines. That's very detailed. The officer's eyes widened in alarm, and she kept her eyes glued to my stomach as she thoroughly patted me down. As she reached my shins, I felt my innards suddenly expand and plummet towards my rectum. With cat-like reflexes, I squeezed my sphincter shut with what seemed like nanoseconds to spare. This is such a relatable feeling. And I knew that if I didn't get to the bathroom immediately, I would shit myself. With a Herculean effort and all of the strength that I could muster, I forced my butt cheeks together, knowing that one false move would open the floodgates. I began to walk like a duck, trying to remain as inconspicuous as possible, not even caring now what other people were seeing in front of them. A disheveled, barefoot 40-year-old businessman, red-faced and bulgy-eyed, sweating profusely, shaking slightly, and walking without bending his knees. With single-minded intensity, I grabbed my carry-on shoes and socks from out of the plastic tube that had passed the X-ray inspection, and without putting anything back on, I turned on my heels with the intention of finding the nearest restroom and slowly dying there, one squirt at a time. Holy run-on sentence, Batman. But that's not what happened. I turned to go and find myself staring at 3 armed agents, who stopped me and asked if I would follow them. TSA, cool. Why, what's the matter? I stammered, wincing slightly as the act of speech seemed to strain the tenuous and extremely fragile truce I had negotiated between my bowels and the tempest that raged within. I have to go to the bathroom right now, I pleaded. Just follow us, please, they said, leaving no room for argument. The other travelers clearing the security check stared with curiosity and revulsion at the spectacle unfolding before them, whispering amongst themselves and hurrying to pack up their belongings and get as far away from me as possible, no doubt assuming the airport had nabbed some sort of domestic terrorist. If I hadn't been feverishly trying to hold back the eruption of Mount Vesuvius, I likely would have died of shame. With each step I took towards the room that they ushered me into, I felt that my legs would give way. I marveled at how strong the human will could be. Marveled at what was essentially patching a hole in the Hoover Dam with bubblegum could actually be sustained indefinitely. Maybe I could make it through this ordeal after all. The room they brought me into was an examination room. I had pretty much stopped registering details of my environment as my consciousness closed off all but the necessary functions, breathing, ability to walk, but I snapped back to reality when I heard the snap of rubber. The slow dawning of realization poked through my agony, oh no, and stoic resolve, as I turned to face an agent donning rubber gloves. Sir, we're going to perform a cavity search on you.
Oh.
Woo! Okay, so this story went in a completely different direction. I just thought it was going to be a story about him shitting himself. This is way worse. And I need a drink. If I have to take a drink halfway through this Amazon product review, it's too long of a product review. A young, fresh-faced agent stated in a firm but emotionless voice. His short-cropped blonde hair was immaculate, and for a crazy moment I wondered if he was an actor and this was all some sort of elaborate practical joke done to amuse bored kids watching YouTube. He must have taken my tortured silence for resistance because he looked at me sharply and said, "Lower your pants and underwear, please," and face the desk. Dude, that is absolutely insane. That is an insane, like, the fact that people can do this is insane. Like, no, like, hello? Like, you can, excuse me? I go to an airport and now I consent for my cavities being searched? This is absolutely insane. Panic started to grip me in its icy grasp, and the sudden adrenaline threatened to destroy my sphincter's bulwarks and rend my anus in two. I inhaled sharply, and with a pained gasp, I doubled up my efforts to clench my cheeks together. "Sir, please," I begged, deferring to this kid in an act of desperation. "I have to go to the bathroom. You can follow me into the stall if you need to, but I had some bad Haribo sugar-free gummy bears, and now I feel like—" But they'd stopped listening, and smirked at each other. Two of the other agents, a tall, dark-haired female, and a shorter, balding fat man, looked away from me, and I can see them shaking a little as they stifled their laughs. "Sir, face the wall, put your hands on the desk, and spread your cheeks," the young agent stated, a lopsided grin on his face. "But," I began to protest, and then a fresh shock of pain forced me to stop and lean on the table for support as an ungodly howling rose from my stomach, something between the dying moans of a woolly mammoth and the sound of bubble wrap popping underwater. That's so specific. I exhaled shakily, and my focus began to narrow as I rallied for the final battle, shaking uncontrollably and sweat literally raining down on the tabletop in front of me. I turned to face the wall and heard a meek, childlike voice pleading from somewhere in the room. "Please," it said, and then again, "Please." From somewhere within me, my mind recognized the sound it issued from me, although my consciousness had now begun to separate from my body, and I held my breath and prayed to God for strength. "He probably has some heroin or something up there that opened up," the female guard said, as a part of me that hadn't escaped into the ether yet acknowledged that she was behind me to my left. "Probably high as a kite, look at him," she said. The shorter guard agreed with a snort, off to my right. "Spread your cheeks," the young agent said, his voice directly behind me and lower than the other two, "and bend over." Like, again, this is absolutely insane that they can do this. This should be illegal. They should all be in jail, like, just standing over some random person and, like giggling like this. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Anyway, "Please God, please God, please God," I whispered in a desperate, maniacal mantra, not even aware of my surroundings anymore. I feel like they deserve this, to be honest. I felt like I was lost in an opium fog with half-snatched images and sounds filtering through to create a nonsensical version of reality. Another volley of pain tore through me, and I involuntarily leaned forward over the desk. My focus completely narrowed now to a spot on the wall 2 feet in front of me. A curious imperfection in the what seemed to be whitewashed stone wall. It was a dark blotch about 5 millimeters long and shaped like a smiling bear. A yellow, dancing bear. No, a green bear. No, red. It was all the colors of the rainbow. My God, it was beautiful. Okay, here we go. It just took something as simple as a slight breeze to trigger Armageddon. That's all. No trumpets, no fanfare, no fire raining from the heavens, no dogs and cats living together in harmony, no finger on the button, no prophet to predict it, no nothing. As I stared at the rainbow bear smiling and dancing in front of me, my mouth agape, drooling, eyes glazed and bloodshot, face coated with a sheen of sweat, I heard the softest sound, an exhalation from the young agent behind me. And then at the same instant, the warm air of his breath feather across my butt cheeks. For just a moment, maybe less, maybe a split second, even a nanosecond, I felt the presence of God there with me in that room. As neurons began to misfire at a blinding rate, nerve ending bristled and muscles twitched reflexively. I stood on the brink with one foot hovering over the edge, and then without taking a step, I found myself plummeting. With a sound like an extra-large plastic ketchup bottle being run over by a Mack truck, my sphincter released. The pressure of the blast pushed me hard into the desk, and the legs of the desk screeched as they scraped across the floor. My body remained rigid for a moment, and I experienced a relief that can only be described as orgasmic in its purity. Prostate. My eyes rolled back in my head, and my tongue lolled out of my head like a slur, dog, and I emitted a low, sustained groan that grew in pitch as the filthy torrent pushed its way out of my body. Tremors racked my body, and I must have looked like a fish out of water, with an endless stream of shit flying out of its ass. Other sounds and sensations starting to filter in now as my consciousness began to materialize once more. The muffled scream of a dungeon filled with prisoners near death radiated from my stomach. The rushing sound of liters of liquid trying to escape through an aperture too small to accommodate it all at the same time. The omnipresent sound of chunky liquid spattering against a hard surface with great force. The high-pitched screaming of a woman's voice calling out to God. Another voice sobbing uncontrollably, imploring to make it stop, and my own ecstatic, monotone wail. I hope it hit him in the mouth, like the open mouth. I genuinely, if they're gonna do shit like this, I really hope that, yeah. When my ordeal had eventually run its course, I was left panting for breath and wobbly-legged, half crying, half laughing with relief, barely lucid, and feeling as if I had birthed an elephant. My colon felt like someone had poured chili sauce all over it, and then sent in a colony of fire ants to eat it. Through my sobs, I heard the sound of dripping, like when the sprinklers are eventually turned off after an office fire, or after a thunderstorm, when the willow that overhangs a pond continues to rain down long after the sky has stopped. From behind me, the sobbing continued, and I heard someone trying to speak into a walkie-talkie, but nonsensical words were all that man could speak, which sounded like the ravings of a lunatic. With great relief, I slowly pulled myself off the table, legs trembling, my stomach eliciting one last sound, a loud, prolonged gas bubbling that eerily resembled a pig orgasm. This man has life experience, like, good lord. I slowly turned my head to survey the devastation, and in that instant, if I had had a pencil or some other sharp object, I probably would have gouged my eyes out in revulsion. And the smell. The smell was enough to drive a man insane. It was the stench of rotting potatoes mixed with sulfur and ammonia, cooked in a broth of chicken feces, and left to age for 2 weeks in a yeasty stew at the bottom of a French outhouse. After half a whiff of this ghoulish brine, I immediately stopped breathing through my nose, but the taste was to remain in the back of my throat for months to come. The young agent had taken the brunt of the foul witch's brew, and at first I couldn't process what I was seeing. I thought somehow the young blonde kid had been spirited away and replaced by a brown golem, or an ATV rider that had spent the better part of a day driving through every mud puddle he could find after a torrential downpour. With some degree of compartmentalization, I came to understand that for some unfathomable reason this kid hadn't moved, or hadn't been able to move, throughout the entire fecal deluge. He had weathered the entire assault head-on like some sort of hero from Greek mythology. I had given this poor schmuck a one-man shit bukkake that would have made a Brazilian pornographer retch with disgust, and he was still in the same position he must have been from the moment of first impact. I tried to comprehend how he must be feeling, what he must be going through psychologically, but it became evident very quickly that he'd become very broken. No doubt forced so deeply within himself once the fire hose has been turned on that there was little to no hope of him ever coming back from it. Certainly not without extensive psychotherapy or a lobotomy. I looked beyond his quivering, catatonic crouched form to see a perfect outline of him cut out on the white wall behind him, either side filled in with a dripping, opaque layer of alternately pulpy and runny fecal stew. I noticed 2 quivering masses at either extremes of the room, and realized they were humanoid in form, although the caterwauling that was coming from these broken creatures was just blubbering gibberish. And this was the tableau that was burnt into my mind's eye for eternity. Needless to say, I missed my flight. In fact, the next week is a blur. I have vague recollections of an army of hazmat-clad figures looming through the brown landscape of the soiled room. The slopping sounds of rubber boats squelching in puddles of fetid detritus, uncontrolled wailing and animal-like sounds issuing from the mouths of creatures that had been traumatized beyond their capacity for being put back together, the complete loss of sensation from my waist down as I would roll through the room on a waterproof gurney, its wheels struggling to surf on top of the shit-soaked floor. I spent a week or so in the hospital, enclosed in a well-ventilated, sealed room, with suited doctor coming in on the hour to monitor my vital signs as they tried to rehydrate my body. I had apparently expelled every available drop of water from my body that was possible to sustain life without for a short period of time. All of my clothes were incinerated in the hospital's crematorium, and the soiled bag of Haribo sugar-free gummy bears was never recovered. This is my story. It is inconceivable to think that this kind of product can be sold legally and be misrepresented as food. I was lucky. I survived. But as for the families of the survivors and the survivors themselves, they will forever live with the trauma of the events that took place at Pearson International Airport on that snowy day in April 2013. $29,762 people found this helpful. Thank you. Thank you. It's very rare that I read a story where someone enjoys the sound of their voice this much, but it is very funny, and I'm gonna be honest, serves them right, 100% deserved. I find that actually quite monstrous that you can just perform cavity searches on people like this on mere suspicion that they might be doing something weird. Like, I swear 9/11 broke people's brains. Like, genuinely, I think, like, it's absolutely crazy. Like, the response is insane. Like cavity, like violating people's privacy like that, and dignity as well. That's 100% instant karma. Absolutely instant karma. Like, they were about to enjoy it as well. Like, what kind of, like, that's sick shit, man. Yeah. You deserve some diarrhea in the face for that. Anyway. Thomas, that took us 22 minutes to get through. 22. I'd like to thank you for that. Reading non-stop for 22 minutes. Awesome. Very cool. Yeah, there's a person who just stopped to check his phone, must be Al-Qaeda. That's literally what TSA does. 100%. The worst part of this is that it's left on a product that didn't even cause it. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I was about to say, I said it in the beginning, food poisoning doesn't work that fast. This is not for Haribo. This is for whatever you ate like for breakfast. Like,
it's not. There was something about. I think it was a sugar substitute used in sugar-free like gummies that did cause stuff like this.
Really? Oh, really?
Yeah.
Like so quickly though?
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy. Yeah, cool story. A fictitious one, but funny nonetheless. Yeah, see, the little voice inside my head goes, of all the things that didn't happen, this never happened the most. But it's still funny. And I mean, you know, I have no way of knowing whether it's true or not. It's just funny. You could at least let him go to the bathroom just in case he actually needs to go to the bathroom, and then do the cavity shirts if you really deem it necessary after that. No, they thought that he was gonna flush whatever heroin he'd stuck up his ass.
Yeah.
And yeah, so they'd rather like violate his dignity at like in one of the most crazy ways. In any other context, that's major assault. Like major. It's insane. It's insanity. Like, America is an insane place. Or wait, it was Toronto. Canada's also an insane place. Lactose intolerance also gets you very quickly. Oh yeah, no, 100%. Mm-hmm. I'm so happy that talking of shit is so normal to me as an animal caretaker, because I just sat down at the PC with my food done, ready to eat while I listened to friends. Hearing about like the eruption of Mount Vesuvius, yes. I'm comfortable with this stuff as well. Like, there was nothing in me that went like, ew, that's gross. It was just very funny. Hello, Baron. You just missed the torrent of shit that we just read about. It was great. Supposedly, Mr. Lambert confirms in one of the reptiles this is indeed a work of one of the replies. Sorry, reptiles. I don't know why I read reptiles. that this is indeed a work of fiction. I don't know if there are replies. Let me see. No, then there are no comments, unfortunately. But yeah, it's just the story. Most sugar-free stuff says excessive consumption may cause a laxative effect. So maybe they had a few kinks to work out with the formula in 2013. So unless he slammed a whole bowl of gummy bears, he would be fine from it. I mean, it does say he did. Like he did like he did chug the gummy bears.
Devour the entire perk.
Yeah. All right. Well, I hope you guys are cool with that. That was fun. Thanks, Thomas. Oh, what a weird day. Am I right? All right. Shall we move on? Let's get into some tabletop stuff, shall we? We've got 6 classes to get through and not a lot of time in which to do it. So let's start. We've got 6 to go. We've got Sorcerer, Cleric, Monk, Wizard, Barbarian, and Fighter. Put in the chat, please, right now. Who do you want to do first? Look up at the tabs. You'll see them. Sorcerer, Cleric, Monk, Wizard, Barbarian, Fighter. Tell me what you want to hear first, and we'll read about it. That Xanathar's explosive diarrhea takes another victim. Baron, I would love to poll, but unfortunately, unfortunately, you can only poll 4 options, not 6. So once we get to 4, then I will do it. Once we get to 4, I'll do it. All right, I'm hearing 1 wizard. Very good.
The wizard.
The wizard. Very good. Anyone else got a preference? What were the options? You can see them here. I got tabs. Sorcerer, Cleric, Monk, Wizard, Barbarian, Fighter. Fox just had a whole multi-picture and title transition to segue into talking about the Trump shooting. Really? Interesting. I find it quite wild that we've just kind of, like, I say we. I really wish I wasn't, like, I didn't have to be so involved in American politics. But yeah. I do think it's crazy that people seem to have forgotten about the fact that a presidential candidate was, like, shot at, and, like, it's wild. It's absolutely wild. Like how desensitized to all of this stuff that we've gotten. Okay, wizard. We got 2 wizards. Monk, Fighter, Barbarian, Sorcerer, Barbarian. Looks like wizard is winning, yeah. We might do wizard first, yeah. You said Bard. We've done Bard already. That was the first one we did. We did College of Dance. We didn't do the full class, but it's fine. Yeah, it looks like Wiz is whizzing. Very good. Okay, it looks like we'll start with Sorcerer, and then we'll keep going. Sorry, we'll start with Wizard, and then we'll keep going through that. Alrighty. Wizard first. Here we go, everyone. I'll find a good, let's find a, let's find a good thing of, good piece of music for Wizard. Very good. Aha! Here we go. 2024 Wizard. You meant Barb? Okay. Okay, cool. We'll do Barbarian afterwards then, because 2 people voted for that. People haven't forgotten that Trump was shot at. It's all they can talk about. The guy that did die, though, that's who's forgotten. Yeah, true. Someone actually did die, though. But no one cares about that. It's quite crazy. Yeah. Anyway, and no one's talking about shooting or, like, gun control or anything. Like, presidential candidate was shot at. Insane. Anyway, 2024 Wizard. Masters of the arcane arts, scholars of the esoteric, and delvers of eldritch secrets, the wizard class wields the forces of magic with greater poise and prowess in the 2024 Player's Handbook. 10 years of study have paid off as we look at the changes and tweaks made to one of the most iconic classes of Dungeons & Dragons. Below we cover key changes to 2024 Wizard you'll find in the new Player's Handbook. Blah, 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 blah. Cool. I don't want to read this yet because they're going to tell us in more detail here. Right, spellcasting. The Wizard spellcasting feature hasn't seen a huge number of changes, but has certainly received some quality of life improvements. The most immediate difference you'll notice is that Wizards no longer use their intelligence modifier plus Wizard level to determine their number of prepared spells. instead referring to a fixed value listed in the wizard table. I'm a big fan of this. I really like that wizards who don't necessarily have a 20 in intelligence are not, like, adversely punished for... I do like that that all wizards will have the same number of prepared spells. I like that everyone's got options. I like that you don't have to min-max in order to get the most out of your character. I like that you can just have this. That's cool. Pulling a page from Igwilv's spellbook, the cantrip formula's optional class feature from Tasha's Cauldron of Everything is now a core spellcasting feature. I'm not sure what that does. Also, spellbooks receive a bit of love, with more defined properties, the ability to be used as a spellcasting focus, thank God, and are now impossible to read by anyone but you without the use of Identify. That's cool, because it's like your own, like, cipher and stuff. That's awesome. Very, very cool. Makes it very unique. Nice and precious. Also, using a book as a spellcasting focus, you can just draw symbols from it. So sick. So sick. Something that makes me think, why wasn't this in the original D&D? Alright, Ritual Adept, level 1. The 2024 wizards still get special treatment in the Ritual department, as seen in their other level 1 feature, Ritual Adept. As long as a spell with the Ritual tag is in your spellbook and you read the spell from your spellbook, you can cast it as a ritual without needing to prepare it. Okay, regular, that's fine. Scholar, level 2. The 2024 wizard has become much more multidisciplinary and can gain expertise in one of the following skills they're proficient in: Arcana, History, Investigation, Medicine, Nature, or Religion. I love this. I know more classes are being able to get expertise in the new D&D, and I think it's really cool that wizards can be the nerds that they wished to be, because I love, wizards don't get a lot of skills. They just kind of have to rely on their attribute bonuses to really get them places, but a wizard is literally a studier of magic, so it makes sense that they would have, like, an expertise in something. So it's really cool that they have an expertise. It's really nice. So wizards whose dump stat is intelligence weren't just limiting themselves on how well they cast, but how many spells they cast? Jesus, yeah, exactly. That's why this is super cool. Okay, wizard subclass. Here we go. This is another decision that I think is weird and probably a capitalist decision, because I don't think that, like, it's probably like a profit decision. Because the subclasses are 4 again, just like every other class. Every other class only has 4 subclasses. And the subclasses here are Abjurer, Diviner, Evoker, and Illusionist. Like enchantment, necromancy, chronomancy, I don't know. Like, there are so many, like, just the default wizard classes was just one per class, one per type of magic. Like, why is it 4? The only reason I can think of is they want to add more paid options, like in later expansions and stuff, which is just super scummy to me. Just give them all the classes, like all the subclasses. Anyway, wizards now pick their subclass at level 3, but an extra level of study has paid off. Their Savant features now allow them access to 2 free level 1 or level 2 spells of their associated school, rather than a reduction of cost and time when copying new spells. Oh, you get free spells! That's cool. Additionally, thanks to the new Savant feature, they get to add a spell from their chosen school to their spellbook each time they unlock a new level of spell slot in the wizard class. Oh, cool! Okay, this is actually nice. So what they've done is they've offset the debuff from like having cheaper spells copied into your spellbook to giving you a huge buff where every second level you get an extra spell in your school. That's very nice. Very nice. I love that. I think that's awesome. All right, Abjurer. Formerly the School of Abjuration, which is protection. You'll notice the Abjurer's signature arcane ward feature has had its language clarified, and you can refill it directly as a bonus action by expending a spell slot. That's very nice. Very nice. Arcane Ward was basically just a big shield around you, like a bubble shield, and it could protect you from damage. At level 10, Abjurer wizards get a new feature called Spellbreaker, which, in addition to absorbing 2014's improved Abjuration, grants Counterspell and Dispel magic as always prepared spells, the latter being able to be cast as a bonus action. Bonus action Dispel magic? That's sick. That's sick. But the real standout of this feature is that if you use either spell and fail, no spell slot is consumed. Holy shit, can we have this mechanic more, please? Please, can we have this mechanic more? Oh my god. Casting Counterspell and Dispel magic, and if you fail, the spell slot isn't consumed, is so cool. That is awesome. I like that. All right, Diviner. The Diviner subclass doesn't see many changes from its previous incarnation as the School of Divination, other than some refinements to the third eye. The feature now uses a bonus action, great, and the Dark Vision feature has increased its range to 120 feet. The See Invisibility option now allows you to cast the See Invisibility spell without using a spell slot. Oh, okay, fine. They're just kind of making things streamlined. That's fine. It's the same thing. Combining and boosting the benefits of the 2014 Ethereal Sight and See Invisibility benefits. Okay. Right, Evoker. The most explosive wizard subclass has seen potent cantrip and sculpt spells swap places, with the former now applying half damage on missed spell attacks, as well as successful saving throws against your cantrips. Oh my god! So sick. Half damage on missed spell attacks and successful saving throws. Cool as hell. Beyond this, the subclass is largely unchanged from the 2014. Okay, fine. But that's really cool. I like this a lot. There are some, it's not gigantic changes. Some of them are pretty good. Some of them are pretty big. But all of them are good. I don't see something that's kind of made me go, like, I like this. I like this all so far. That's great. Illusionist. Despite a multitude of improvements, the first you'll notice is improved illusions, which absorbs improved minor illusion and includes new benefits. It now allows you to ignore verbal components for illusion spells. What? And increase the range of certain spells. Great.
Yeah, because what was the point of like doing illusions if people know you're casting a spell because you're saying the funny words?
Yeah, exactly. That's so good. At level 6, Illusionists get the new Phantasmal Creatures feature, which grants Summon Beast and Summon Fae as always prepared spells. Cool. These can be cast as illusion spells, which summons a modified version of the creature, and also allows a free casting of each once per long rest. Finally, Illusory Self has been clarified to trigger on a hit instead of an attack roll, and it can be restored by expending a level 2+ spell slot without requiring any action. Incredible. So cool. Love this. Creative, kind of takes advantage of the mechanics that you've got to make interesting little exceptions to it. I love that. I love this. This is great. Now give me more subclasses, because I'm a wizard. All right, here we go. Memorize spell, level 5. A new level 5 feature, wizards can now swap out one prepared spell for one in their spellbook whenever they take a short rest. Cool. Cool, 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 cool. This is very nice. I'm loving this. Okay, spell mastery level 18, yeah. So this is what wizards unfortunately have. They do subclass stuff from level 5 to level 18, but wizards do not get a single other benefit from level 5 all the way to level 18, except higher spells and like ability score improvements, probably. Like, that's insane. That's actually insane. All right, spell level 18. Spell mastery sees a few minor changes, starting with the limitation that the chosen spells must have a casting time of 1 action, and you can only swap one spell at a time rather than both. Bit of a nerf. Why nerf at level 18? Like, it was already fine. However, the chosen spells now count as always prepared and can be swapped out on a long rest rather than requiring 8 hours of dedicated study. Okay, well, that's good. But, I guess that's why the nerf is there, because they're making a buff somewhere else. Fair enough. I think the decision to limit wizard subclasses is both capitalistic and to prevent book bloat. Maybe. I mean, maybe, but the book is already like 400 pages, which I guess is in favor of your argument. But, I don't know, like, would it really take up that much to have, like, 4 more subclasses? Like, maybe, like, 4 more pages, maybe? I don't know. I could fit a subclass onto a page. With art and descriptions. Alright, Epic Boon. Previously a special award, blah, blah, blah. This is the Epic Boon for wizards. Boon of Spell Recall. Increase your intelligence, wisdom, or charisma ability score up by 1, and when you cast a spell using a level 1 to 4 spell slot, roll 1d4. If you roll the spell's level, the slot isn't expended. That's cool as hell. That's so cool. Freaking awesome. I love that. Okay. So, there are 2 weird ones. There are 2 weird things, but the one thing is not that weird. It's more like why are you nerfing a level 18 spell? But it's also kind of buffing the level 18 perk, so that's fine. The main weird thing is the lack of subclasses, which is just unfortunate. And the lack of anything from level 5 to 18. I think there should be at least something. But all the changes that are present, absolutely awesome. I can't wait to see them in practice. Very exciting. Like having just once again, remember that theme that seems to be reoccurring, that theme of versatility but also more identity. I love that we're getting more identity in the ability to shape spells and to like make them our own, to shape our school of magic as well. And more identity in like getting expertise in a skill or something like that. I think that's freaking awesome. At the same time, I also think that it's versatile enough that you really can play any kind of wizard you want now. I think this is cool. Yeah. What main class features would you like to see? It's a good question. So, what, from level 5 to 18? It really depends on when you get the subclass features. So, because they don't tell you when you get the subclass features. So I think, let's say the subclass features, like, you get at level 3, and then, oh, they say level 6. Okay, so it's level 3, level 6, and then, where else? Level 10. Okay. So I believe it's level 3, level 6, level 10, and then that's it, because that's at the end of level 10, and then the next thing you get is level 15. So what I would get is something at possibly something at level 8, and then something at level 12, 13. So that would be the kind of balance that I would make, and for level 8, one of the 2 buffs should be an extra expertise. I think for a wizard, especially someone who is like, bye kid. I think for someone who is especially good at studying things, I think another expertise would be great and pretty harmless. And I think the other one could be something like, geez, I mean, off the top of my head, what would be good for a wizard? Something that really encourages their identity to be able to sculpt spells. So, yeah, maybe something that upgrades a spell book. Because remember, they were talking about how they want to make the spell book more precious. Maybe they're like, when you use, like, maybe your spell book can do more things now or something. I don't know. Yeah, there are a lot of things you can do for it that can make the wizard seem more valuable. But yeah, I think. Oh, you're still here. Okay, but I think that it's yeah, it's a bit. It's just long. It's a long slog to go from level 5 to level 18. So I'm really hoping that there'll be more. But yeah, most of the stuff that I love about this, in fact, most of the stuff that is in here, I love. I think it's awesome. I really, really like it. I especially like, even though there are a few subclasses, I really like the details they've added to these subclasses. Like some of the illusionist wizard, you can just look at someone and cast illusion spell. Amazing. Freaking awesome. All right. Without further ado, let's get going to the Barbarian. 2024 Barbarian versus 2014 Barbarian. Here we go. Everyone's favorite tank has been hitting the gym and is even more buff in the 2024 Player's Handbook. Cool. You'll find the new Barbarian is harder to take down, has a more persistent rage, and is more strategic when it comes to trading off defense for offense. Sick. Okay. Alright, before we do the Barbarian, I'm going to stay here, and we can look at mothering. And then, and I will go get some water. Hydrate yourselves! I return. Right. Let's see what the Barbarian has done. Rage level 1. That's Grog from Vox Machina. No, that's Grog. That's Grog's mommy. That's That's mommy grog. Anyway, you can't be the Hulk of your adventuring party without a persistent, nigh uncontrollable rage. Makes sense. The 2024 Player's Handbook makes it easy to keep your rage by rolling by allowing you to expend a bonus action to maintain your rage. Awesome. Your rage is also extended if you force an enemy to make a saving throw. Whoa. Whoa. Force an enemy to make a saving throw is so good. Okay. Yeah, previously, this is really good. Why? Previously, you would have to make a weapon attack or take damage to continue raging. But if you're taking your turn to do something mundane, like climbing a ladder, you don't want to have to expend another use of rage once you get to the top. Yes, absolutely. Thank you. You now also regain 1 use of rage when you finish a short rest, making it more likely you'll have this key barbarian feature available when you roll initiative. No notes. Phenomenal change. I absolutely love this. The fact that you have to, like, hit yourself to contain your rage or sustain your rage is pretty funny. But again, like this game says, if you want to take time to climb a ladder and the ladder's tall, you're going to have to spend a whole other use of your rage when you get to the top. It's just, this is so clean. Such an amazing change. I love this. Also, giving yourself another rage, so cool. You get weapon mastery. Nice. Okay, so you get weapon mastery for 2 weapons, and that's fantastic as well. All right, danger sense. The Barbarian's Spidey sense has been given a buff. Previously, you'd have to be able to hear or see a fireball streaking towards you in order to get advantage on your subsequent dexterity saving throw. Now, you can dodge effectively even when blind or deafened. Incredible. Incredible. That's a huge buff. I mean, no notes. Again, like, so cool. So cool. The cool thing about this is that it wasn't even I don't even think it was a big issue. I think it was okay. And now it's just better. It's so cool. All right, Barbarian subclasses. Here we go. The Path of the Berserker, Path of the Wildheart, Path of the World Tree, and Path of the Zealot. Okay, Path of the World Tree is an entirely new subclass. Okay, here we go. Path of the Berserker. The biggest change to the Path of the Berserker is the adjustments to Frenzy. Now, instead of giving you an extra bonus action attack, you get additional damage on your first hit each turn when you're using Reckless Attack while your rage is active. Wow. Okay. Look, this is good because remember you can get a bonus action to sustain your rage as well, which is really cool. So they've left your bonus action open to extend your rage. And additional, like, guaranteed damage is so cool. That's phenomenal. The extra damage is represented by a number of D6s equal to your rage bonus damage. Whoa. That's actually sick. You also don't gain levels of exhaustion for using this ability. Oh, yes! Just a straight buff, dude. Other than that, Intimidating Presence and Retaliation have swapped places. Intimidating Presence now takes a bonus action. It's limited to once per long rest unless you expend a use of rage to use it again. Yes. Give me the ability to use class features to get some other class features back. Yes. It affects multiple creatures. Incredible. Its frightened condition lasts up to 1 minute without requiring an action to extend the duration. Oh my god. And the DC of the effect is based on your strength instead of charisma. Yes! Why would it ever have been charisma for a barbarian? Incredible. Mindless Rage now also ends the charmed or frightened condition instead of suspending it. No notes. Again, I'm just reading it at this point. I'm just reading it. This is so good. Wow. Okay, here we go. Path of the Wildheart, formerly Path of the Totem Warrior. The Path of the Wildheart has seen some significant improvements to its flexibility. Now you can change the animals that you draw primal power from more easily, and they've been balanced to make choosing feel more strategic. Instead of choosing an animal at level 3 and sticking with it through your campaign, you can swap out benefits from your level 3 and 14 abilities each time you rage. Each time you rage?
Okay.
Not even short or long rest, just rage. So Path of the Wildheart is not just choosing a single token, it's just being animals. That's so sick. That gives you so much versatility. And I'll tell you that this answers a single problem that barbarians have, which is barbarian gameplay pretty much ends up past level 3 or 4. Once you hit your stride, a barbarian gameplay is just roll initiative, I run to hit, I reckless, I wait for them to reckless attack me. My turn, I reckless, I wait for them to reckless attack me. And I just take damage. I don't move. I don't let anyone else do anything. I don't have any team maneuvers. I just hit and get hit. That's what the barbarian does. And it's really boring for a lot of people. So the fact that the Wild Heart gets this amount of versatility, that's very strong. That's very strong. Almost too strong? Like, even every time you rage is very frequently. But of course, we're only going to know if it's really too strong after playtesting. Still, it sounds really cool. Really, really cool. Yeah. Intimidation can be used with stats other than charisma, depending on how you do the intimidation. Has been a house rule in my tables for many, many years now. Absolutely, mine too. 100%. Yeah. I think it makes complete sense. All right, Path of the World tree. With this subclass, you can dish out temporary hit points, team move, shift enemies around the battlefield, battlefield control, increase your reach and the versatility of your weapon mastery properties, and as the subclass's capstone, teleport around the battlefield with your allies. Imagine if the Incredible Hulk could teleport. Like, insane. This is so cool. I don't know how to get more excited about a barbarian. It's just every new thing is just W after W, you know? God, this is so good. Path of the Zealot. Originally introduced in Xanathar's Guide to Everything, this Radiant subclass has had a glow-up. In its Warrior of the Gods feature now helps you stay alive by giving you a pool of healing dice you can roll as a bonus action. Sick. Rather than making it easier to bring you back from the dead. This is good, because a lot of people will, like, you know, play pop-up, like Whack-A-Mole with frickin', yeah, Hardy R with the glow-up thing. Play Whack-A-Mole with your Barbarian, or with any tank, really, because it's easier to heal someone back from low health than just heal them. In fact, sometimes, according to D&D, it makes more sense to let them go down and then heal them again, so that they can, like, it's actually quite crazy. This is also reflected in the Rage of the Gods feature, which replaces Rage Beyond Death and gives you a fly speed, damage resistances, and the ability to expend a use of your rage to prevent you or one of your comrades from dropping to 0 hit points. I love the theme of 2024 D&D, where we take solo adventuring characters and turn them into team weapons. I freaking love this. I love this so much. Give me more team maneuvers, please. That's awesome. And that's just the subclasses. Whew. This is sick. All right, Primal Knowledge, level 3. Hold on. Oh. Make your Barbarian more useful when they're not crushing skulls. Primal Knowledge gives you an extra skill proficiency from the Barbarian's list. Also, while your rage is active, whenever you make an ability check using one of these skills, you can make it as a strength check, even if it normally uses a different ability. Acrobatics, Intimidation, Perception, Stealth, also... Stealth? Oh my god. Wait. Primal Knowledge, while you're raging, you can make strength checks for acrobatics, perception, and stealth. Stealth! That's so cool. So cool. No longer will the Barbarian, like, bring the party down. I find this so interesting. That means you can now fly into a rage and use your fury to sneak into places, perceive things more easily, and do complex calisthenics. Talk about an all-terrain rage. Listen, what I love about this is that rage is not necessarily loud, screaming anger. Rage is more. And they've always described the Barbarian's rage as being more than just anger, more than just, like, screaming and doing things. Rage can sometimes be seething, and that is silent. I absolutely love this. So cool. Instinctive Pounce. When you gain this ability, you can move up to half your speed as part of the same bonus action you take to enter a rage. Hallelujah. This is an excellent way to ensure you're in the front ranks when you clash with enemy forces. Yes. Thank you very much. And Brutal Strike. Okay, so how do we fix Brutal Criticals? So Brutal Criticals was usually when you crit with a weapon attack, you get more dice. So your criticals are like crazy good. So this is now Brutal Strike. This ability replaces the 2014 Barbarian's Brutal Critical in favor of more strategic use of your Barbarian's resources. Using Brutal Strike, you can forego the advantage from your Reckless Attack feature on one strength-based attack per turn to inflict more damage and impose a deleterious effect. If you gamble correctly and still manage to hit with your attack, you get an extra 1d10 damage, sick, and can choose either Forceful Blow, send your target flying 15 feet away from you. That's far. Then you can follow up and move half your speed towards your target without provoking opportunity attacks. Or Hamstring Blow, reduce your target's speed by 15 feet until the start of your next turn. Despite usually having 2 hamstrings, a creature can only suffer from 1 hamstring blow at a time. Okay, fair enough. This is so interesting. So now you're already doing extra damage just on regular hits, let alone like critical hits. Critical hits will do more as well. Oh my god. And you get to do more like battlefield stuff. It's not just about doing damage and taking damage. Jesus. Both options can be incredibly useful in specific situations. Forceful Blow is great for sending enemies off cliffs or into environmental hazards. Just maybe don't follow them in afterwards. It can also be used to knock an enemy away from one of your less tanky party members. Hamstring Blow, on the other hand, can be crucial for locking down fast targets and keeping them within reach until you can finish them off. Who would have thought attacking with reckless abandon could be so strategic? I didn't, but here we are. Relentless Rage. We heard you like tanky builds, so we made your tanky build even more tanky. Previously, when you succeeded in a Constitution saving throw after getting knocked at 0 hit points, this ability would bring you back up to 1 hit point. Now, you regain a number of hit points equal to twice your Barbarian level. God, that's powerful. Seeing as you don't lose your rage until you get incapacitated, you effectively have twice that many hit points thanks to damage resistances. Holy shit. Tack on the fact that this continues to happen until you fail your Constitution saving throw after dropping to 0 hit points, and this means you could trigger this ability multiple times per long rest, resulting in dozens of extra hit points. That's insane. That's just insane. This will effectively make you the Black Knight from Monty Python. Able to shrug off a normally fatal injury with a casual, 'tis but a scratch. That's insane. I'm loving this. Okay, improved Brutal Strike. We get more stuff to do with our Brutal Strike. This reminds me of Cunning Strike with the Rogue, and I'm loving that as well. Get even more recklessly strategic. Now you can choose from 2 additional options when you hit a creature using Brutal Strike. Staggering Blow. Force your target to have disadvantage on the next saving throw it makes, and it can't make opportunity attacks until the start of your next turn. That is sick. Perfect for diving out of the way and letting your wizard light them up with a big spell. Sundering Blow. If you have a martial buddy fighting alongside you, this is a great way to team up. When you hit a creature with this ability, the next attack made by it against it by another creature, has a +5 to hit. Ah, teamwork, man. Teamwork. Teamwork! This is so good. Okay, Persistent Rage. Previously, this feature made the Barbarian's Rage impossible to end early, short of knocking them unconscious. In the updated version, you still get these benefits, and your Rage lasts for 10 minutes without you needing to extend it in any way. If that wasn't enough, you can now regain all uses of Rage when you roll initiative. This only triggers once per long rest, but a full 50 minutes of raging should get you to the next time you're able to kick your feet up and relax. That's crazy. That's crazy. That's so strong. And improved Brutal Strike once again. This improvement to your Brutal Strike doubles the damage dealt from 1d10 to 2d10, and also allows you to inflict 2 different Brutal Strike effects each time you hit. This allows you to combo effects, like sending an enemy flying into a blade barrier with disadvantage on their dexterity saving throw. Oh my god. Or perhaps you hit a creature with a thrown hand axe and use Forceful Blow to send them 15 feet away, and Hamstring Blow to reduce their speed by 15 feet. Then step back a couple of feet and ready your next hand axe. And then Epic Boon. Here's the Epic Boon for them. Irresistible Offense. This boon of epic proportions starts by allowing you to increase your strength or dex, and you also get the ability to overcome resistance to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage with your attacks. Finally, when you roll a 20 on the die for an attack roll, you get to deal damage equal to the ability score that you used to make the attack. What? Which will likely be at least 25 when you gain access to Primal Champion at level 20. What? Guaranteed 25 damage? On top of the crit? That's crazy good. It's very rare that I look at a class and I see literally nothing wrong. In fact, it's the only risk of this class is that it now is broken. Because there are some insane buffs. Like, I just find this so crazy. And I'm so impressed with the wishes of the writers here to just give love to these classes. I love it. Yeah. Massive respect. The team moves in the Barbarian are really the things that stand out here. 100%. Sure. Right. My brain is tired. I'm not going to go yet. We're going to keep going, see how many we can do. But now that we have 4, I'm going to give a poll. Next class. We're going to go Sorcerer. Sorcerer, Cleric. Monk. And Fighter. Please make your voices heard. Tell me what you want to see. What are we going to do next? We're going to do Sorcerer, Cleric, Monk, or Fighter. I just pray that there's not a broken combo or something that people come up with in playtesting that makes them need to nerf some of these things. There probably is a broken combo. There probably is. I think we'll have to see once playtesting comes out. But honestly, even if one of these buffs goes away, it's fine. Like, it's fine. Because it's still so much more powerful than it was before. I just love the team stuff. The teamwork stuff, it's so good. I see they took all the tankiness from the druid and dumped it onto the barbarian. Dude, right? Yeah. So I actually like it for the barbarian because the barbarian had incredibly boring gameplay, or the risk of incredibly boring gameplay, and I think the druid has very interesting gameplay just with wild shape on top. I think the nerfs for the druid make sense. They 100% is, but they will always be, so they may leave most. Yeah, for sure. Wow. Cleric gets pushed over, but one of each for Sorcerer, Monk, and Fighter. My God. We have to do first past the post voting, everyone. Oh, no. I hate first past the post. There's no... I wish we could do, like, ranked choice voting for polls. Ranked choice is, like, the best way to... It's definitely the best way to do it. Almost a 4-way tie? That's crazy. Yeah, we're rigged. Alright, Cleric it is. Here we go. The Cleric is one of the most versatile and formidable spellcasting classes in Dungeons & Dragons. Hard agree. Frequently underrated as meek sideline healers, clerics can hold their own next to fighters and other martial classes. A cleric knows the best way to keep your allies on your feet is often to chop your enemies off at theirs. The 2024 Player's Handbook recognizes the raw divine power that clerics bring to the table and offers you a smorgasbord of customizable options like divine strikes or potent spellcasting to build out heroes worthy of the gods they champion. Below we'll highlight key changes to the 2024 Cleric that you'll find in the new Player's Handbook. If there's a feature we don't cover, such as basic spellcasting, that means it remains unchanged or only saw minor changes. Okay, that's fine, like we saw. All right, let's see. Let's do something. Let's do some slightly different cleric stuff. I think we can go to. Let's go to the forest. Okay. Oh my god. Look at this artwork, dude. Shit. That's awesome. Divine Order. As you've likely noticed, the biggest change to the 2024 cleric. I gotta go to a psychiatrist in a few minutes. We'll definitely join back if you're still streaming after later. Goodbye, Chris. Thanks for being here. See you later, dude. Good luck. You no longer receive a subclass at level 1. That's... Yeah. We've talked about this. This might take a little getting used to, but there is a pretty beneficial new feature in the exchange. In the 2014 cleric, some subclasses carried the features of heavy armor training and martial weapon proficiency, but some didn't. Now, when you build a 2024 cleric, you get to decide for yourself. If you want proficiency with martial weapons and training with heavy armor, so sick. Regardless of your subclass, you can just have this. This is phenomenal. Or an extra cantrip from the cleric spell list. You also gain a bonus to your intelligence checks equal to your wisdom modifier. Oh, sick. Okay, because just an extra cantrip would not be enough to offset martial weapons and heavy armor. So I love this bonus to your Arcana Religion checks. So good. Moving this feature out of the subclass column into the base cleric perks gives you a lot more customizability for your role in the world from the jump. This is a repeated theme with the 2024 cleric, as we hinted above and we'll get into below. I love how Arcana and Religion are intelligence checks, and that means the cleric will always struggle. Meanwhile, they're supposed to be good at, if not one, if not both, then at least one of these two skills. They're so potentially important for a cleric. So I love that they're giving them proficiency for that. That's so good. All right, Channel Divinity. An upgrade from the 2014 cleric. You gain 2 uses of Channel Divinity at level 2. Oh, excuse me. And get an extra usage at level 6. You also get more options on how to use it as a base cleric. Okay. Divine Spark. This is actually a twofer. As a magic action, you can focus divine energy towards a creature you can see within 30 feet of yourself. Then you can choose to heal or harm them. Whoa. You roll a 1d8 and add your wisdom modifier, and if you're choosing to heal, they will cover that number in hit points. This ability scales up as you gain levels. 2d8 level 7, 3d8 level 13, 4d8 level 18. But you can also force the creature to make a constitution saving throw and deal that number in your choice of radiant or necrotic damage if they fail the save, or half that if they succeed. Very good. Very good. Harris Peters theme music? Wait, what? This one that's playing right now? Who's Harris Peter? Turn Undead. Turn Undead at level 2 remains mostly the same. The 2024 Player's Handbook specifies the undead creatures who fail their save against your Channel Divinity have the frightened and incapacitated conditions. That's crazy. For 1 minute. It still uses its movement to get as far away as possible, but no longer uses its action to dash, thanks to the incapacitated condition. That is so sick. So sick. Oh, it's Harry Potter? Okay. Harris Peter? That's true, this does sound very similar. Building off the major change from level 1, the 2024 Cleric's level 2 looks different in that you aren't getting a Channel Divinity feature from your subclass yet. Don't fret. Those will be coming along at level 3, and your patience is rewarded by getting a whole new use of Channel Divinity that isn't tied to your subclass. Turn Undead is certainly one of those quintessential cleric abilities, but sometimes there just aren't any zombies around. Having a default ability that lets you heal up some allies or deal some damage to an enemy is a nice little perk and a welcome addition to the Channel Divinity feature. I know, it's great. Heck, you might even be able to get away with not preparing any healing spells and just holding onto those divine sparks for when your party runs headfirst into the enemy's blades. I think this is phenomenal. I think this is absolutely phenomenal. I sit with a cleric. I sit on Turn Undead for so long because there's no other way to use it besides your subclass, and I think that this is just fantastic. All right, here we go. Cleric subclasses. At level 3, also, spoiler alert, I'm feeling my brain kind of die from reading for about an hour and a half straight. So I think when we're done with Cleric, we're going to finish for today, and next TTRPG we'll do the last 3. 3 at a time seems fine for me. Alright, this brings the Cleric in line with the other class, so at level 3 they gain their subclass. It's important to note that while mechanically you don't get the benefit of subclass features till level 3, that doesn't mean you can't roleplay your Cleric's connection with their deity at prior levels. It also gives you the opportunity to play your character for a couple levels before feeling like you need to decide on a subclass. This can be helpful if you follow a deity who straddles different domains. A cleric of Saloon, for example, could easily be of the light or trickster domain. This is one of the reasons I like the subclass at level 3, because it gives you a chance for your character to find their feet, play for a while, before you decide what you like. This is why I think it's a good idea. I understand why people think that it's not, and we've talked about this like really in depth a couple of streams ago about this, but I think this is one of the main reasons that I like this change, and I don't see an issue with it. I think that it could be really fun to have an adventuring party start at level 1 and find their feet together, and then have that moment where they can pick their subclasses at level 3 like one at a time almost. Yeah. I thought you would get it. It kind of reminded me of Harry Potter, but I thought it was something else, maybe some obscure music artist that you were about to recommend to me again. All right. Life domain. Disciple of Life and Preserve Life have moved to level 3, and Blessed Strike has become a base cleric ability. But your domain spells of Bless, Cure Wounds, and Lesser Restoration have been joined by Aid, which replaces Spiritual Weapon as a life domain spell. Interesting. I mean, makes sense if life is a healing cleric. Disciple of Life is now restricted to only the turn that you cast the spell, and you can now use Preserve Life on undead and constructs. Same as Paladin's Lay on Hands. I think the fact that you can use it on undead and constructs is such an interesting change, and a very interesting lore change. I think it's really fascinating because this has huge lore implications on how healing magic works for undead. If they're going to change something that's so fundamental, I think it's going to be very interesting. All right, Light Domain. These Holy Light Bulbs, Warding Flare, and Radiance of the Dawn abilities are available at level 3. See Invisibility replaces Flaming Sphere as a Light Domain spell. Warding Flare works on other creatures from the start instead of just yourself. Improved Warding Flare lets you grant temporary hit points to the target of the triggering attack, and it lets you regain your expended uses of Warding Flare when you finish a short rest. Amazing. Finally, Corona of Light imposes disadvantage against Radiance of the Dawn, as well as spells dealing fire or radiant damage. I don't know a lot of the details about the cleric here, but it seems good. Like, they don't seem to be many debuffs here. These all just seem to be buffs, and I think that's fine. Alright, Trickery Domain. I think Cleric sub at 3 also makes sense because it's kind of like proving yourself to your god. Yes, very much like Warlock as well. I think it's very interesting to have Warlock subclass at level 3 too. Trickery Domain. These mischievous clerics now gain Blessing of the Trickster and Invoke Duplicity at level 3. Blessing of the Trickster can now be used on yourself. Oh, because it couldn't before. That's so sick. And it lasts until you finish a long rest instead of 1 hour, or until you use this feature again. That's so sick. Invoke Duplicity now takes a bonus action instead of an action, and no longer requires concentration. Oh my god. Giant buff. For domain spells, Invisibility replaces Mirror Image, Hypnotic Pattern, and Non-Detection replace Blink and Dispel Magic, and Confusion replaces Polymorph. Okay, just a bunch of new spells. At level 17, your illusion grants advantage to you and your allies when they attack a creature within 5 feet of it, and when the illusion ends, you can grant a number of hit points equal to your cleric level to a creature within 5 feet of it. That's cool. More things to do with your trickster. So cool. War Domain. You can now make an unarmed strike with the bonus action conferred by the War Priest feature, and you regain all uses of War Priest after either a short or long rest. Incredible. Also, Guiding Bolt, Fire Shield, and Steel Wind Strike. What? Replace Divine Favor, Stone Skin, and Flame Strike respectively as War Domain spells. Steel Wind Strike for a cleric? Holy shit! Steel Wind Strike is one of my favorite spells in D&D. It's so good. Finally, the level 6 feature War God's Blessing has been changed from a bonus to an attack roll, and now allows you to cast Shield of Faith or Spiritual Weapon without a spell slot and without requiring concentration for up to 1 minute. I mean, God. It's just insane. Whew. Okay, and we're not even... That's just the subclasses. Alright, let's keep going. Seer Undead level 5. Taking the spirit of the 2014 Destroy Undead ability and reimagining it in a way that gives it more utility in battle. Thank you. Seer Undead is a big upgrade for your 2024 Cleric. Oh, water first. With Seer Undead, whenever you use your channel divinity to turn undead, you can roll a number of d8s equal to your wisdom modifier. Each undead, regardless of CR level, that failed their save against your turn undead suffers radiant damage equal to your roll, and the turn undead effect also remains in place. That's awesome. That's so cool. Yeah. And turn undead remains as well. That's just so good. So you don't have to do, well, destroy is interesting because usually destroy undead was just it automatically destroys undead below a certain level. But remember, undead below a certain level or below a certain challenge rating will probably die to radiant damage equal to a number of d8s, like let's say 4d8 if you have an 18 in wisdom at the beginning. That's 4d8 versus like every undead in your area. That's still a shitload of damage. This exciting change really ups the effectiveness of this channel divinity for all 2024 clerics. The CR threshold in previous versions often meant destroy undead had very limited use. Yes, it may feel like this is a nerf, but I actually agree that destroy undead is more of a hindrance because a party of level 5s, it's very rare that you'll be facing like challenge rating half monsters. Yeah. It was rare that a party of level 5 adventurers was still facing off against challenge rating 1/2 monsters, so it was always kind of an all or nothing effect. With Seer Undead, you could potentially deal damage to every undead within 30 feet. With even a +2 or +3 wisdom modifier, you still have a chance of destroying undead, but if not, they'll still take a hefty amount of damage. Yeah. I think this is good. I do feel a little bit sad about the immediate destroy, because I think the intended effect is for the cleric to realize that they are really so far above, like, petty enemies, quote unquote. Like, you could just go up to a horde of zombies at a high cleric level and just kill them all with one channel divinity. Like, that feels really good, you know? But really, it's just a show. It's just kind of a show off of power, if anything else. There's not really utility in the higher levels. All right, and then there's Blessed Strike. A variation on Blessed Strikes was introduced as an optional level 8 rule in Tasha's Cauldron, and has now become a standard feature of the class in the 2024 Player's Handbook at level 7. When you first level up to level 7, you choose one of the following 2 options. Divine Strike, you can do 1d8 extra damage, and I love that this is part of everything. It's just part of the cleric now. I love it. More balance for the cleric, more versatility for the cleric. You can be a spellcaster all the time or a weapon master all the time. You don't have to. You can switch if you want to. It's great. Potent spellcasting, add your wisdom modifier to the damage dealt with any cleric cantrip. Cool. Very cool. Neither of these choices is wholly new to the cleric class, but previously they were tied to your domain. Yes, absolutely. Some subclasses had empowered strikes, others had a boost to their spellcasting. Moving them to the base class and letting players choose which option you get ups the customizability of the cleric by choosing the mechanics that best fit your playstyle, regardless of the flavor of your domain. That's exactly what I thought. Absolutely. Okay. Divine Intervention. Ooh, okay, let's see. Few features in D&D live at the perfect intersection of flavorfully cool but functionally frustrating as the 2014 Divine Intervention. Because it required the use of percentile dice, the odds of it actually working were usually fairly slim. And when it did, the feature was written in a way that was a bit too vague. This led to a lot of discussion of how it would work in the moment. Now, to be fair, I actually like lots of discussion as to how it works in the moment, because you don't need to have everything written down to a mechanic. This is an opinion of mine that I've held for a long time, but it's most recently when I started developing more, I feel, as a person and as a tabletop player. I am way more open to the idea of improvising things now. I love systems that give you more control in that. I love systems that throw away the rules and say, you know what, we've got mechanics, but we've got bare bones, and here's what you can do with it. And I love that, like, I'm really starting to embrace that as part of my play style. So I don't think that everything needs to be down to a mechanic. I know there are lots of people who need that. I think that tends to bog things down. I think that gives you rule bloat. I think it can be very stressful looking at a rule for like something very specific and stuff. I love just being able to make on-the-fly decisions because I have good grasp of the few rules that are there. However, I am still interested to see what they're going to do here. The feature often boiled down to the effect of a cleric spell, so the difficulty of using it and the 7-day delay in even attempting it again added up to a pretty steep barrier of entry for an ultimately middling impact. The 2024 Divine Intervention takes a big step up in clarity and functionality. The feature now allows a player to choose any cleric spell of level 5 or lower that doesn't require a reaction to cast, and you can cast it without expending a spell slot or material components. Okay? The 7-day delay in using it again is gone now as well, meaning you can invoke Divine Intervention again after completing a long rest. That's good. These are two very interesting buffs. I think it's way more clear. I did really like the idea that your deity intervenes and does something fun, but I think I understand why they did this. I think maybe they left, like, maybe they should have made, like, technically Divine Intervention is like a mini wish, right? So maybe they could have kept this and make it a buff like this, but then also another thing that's like the rest of mini wish that harkens back to the original Divine Intervention, because I really enjoyed the idea of your deity intervening and doing something wild. I think maybe you can have both. So this is the safe version of Divine Intervention, or you can choose to go for broke and summon your deity to do something else. And maybe in the kind of in the sort of spirit of like getting spell slots back when you don't succeed with them, maybe if you roll the percentile dice and you fail, you don't get the 7-day delay in using it again. Like, it's just the same as a long rest, like once per day. I think that would be interesting. Or there's a 7-day delay when you succeed, but only on that one. On the regular level 5 spell or lower, that would be like once a day. That would be an interesting thing. Maybe it makes it too complicated. It sounds too complicated when I say it out loud as well. Again, I understand why they did this, but it is sad to see the wording gone that, like, your god intervenes on your behalf. Like, that's pretty cool. Happy Taco Tuesday to you too, John. Thanks for being here. The changes to Divine Intervention really emphasize the 2024 cleric's role as a conduit to their chosen god, giving them ostensibly a once-per-day ability to pack a powerful punch or pull out a spell like Revivify in a clutch moment. Oh, I realize Revivify also helps here. This is really good because they don't need a diamond then. Okay, I see it's nice. I see this is good. Plays into the spirit of the feature while also providing a mechanic that feels like it can be actively used. Yeah, not bad. Not bad. I like it. Okay. Getting to the end now. The Blessed Strike feature at level 7 lets you customize if your cleric emphasizes cantrip casting or weapon attacks as their main form of combat. At level 14, you see a boost to that previous option. You get a 2d8 of extra damage, or you can grant temporary hit points equal to twice your wisdom modifier to yourself or another creature within 60 feet of you when you deal damage with a cleric cantrip. That's cool. That's a good buff. I like that. That's very nice. Both options can be pretty useful for a cleric, whether you're trying to take an enemy down faster or trying to help you or an ally stay on their feet just a little longer. Cool. And finally for this stream, we have our level 19 epic boon. Boon of Fate. Oh, we've done this already. This is rolling a 2d4 and then subtract the result. Add or subtract from the d20 roll. Yeah, this is nice. Okay, and finally the capstone, Greater Divine Intervention at level 20. The level 20 version of Divine Intervention. Go. You okay?
Yeah.
You alive?
Yeah.
Very good. The level 20 version of Divine Intervention for the 24 Cleric truly leans into the idea of your cleric being your god's most special princess. Wow. 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 Baldur's Gate 3 reference. Now your cleric can use their Divine Intervention to cast the Wish spell. Oh, sick. Okay, I like it. The features of the Wish spell are largely similar to the 2024 Player's Handbook, so the complications that can result from using it and the toll that it takes on the caster's body and health really fit the mold of the impact on a mortal cleric who is fully opening themselves up to the full might of their god's power. After using Divine Intervention to cast Wish, you'll need to wait 2d4 long rests before using the creature again. The creature? The feature. Again. Okay, seems good. Instead of just standard buffs, there have been quite a lot of changes. Changes to prepared spells for the cleric, changes to divine intervention, but I also love that the cleric has been given a decent amount of buffs, and I love that they've also been given more non-subclass versatility, like with Divine Strike being a class thing instead of a subclass or domain thing. I love that the domains themselves are getting buffs. And I do appreciate at least the attempt to make wording, like mechanical wording for something like Divine Intervention, which is like so vague already. I did like the vagueness of it. I thought it was very interesting for a game like D&D, which tends to have a lot of mechanics and a lot of rules. But I understand why they streamlined it to be in line with everything else. So that's it. Overall, now we've looked at Cleric, Barbarian, and Wizard. I think out of all of them, I think my favorite is Barbarian. Barbarian has just been given straight buffs and is actually seems incredibly strong now. We're going to have to see about playtesting whether it's going to be overpowered or not, like if it's actually going to be broken. But I think it seems very strong, and I'm inclined to have strong classes. Like, if your character is strong, let them be strong. I like players like welling in that power and being able to appreciate it, especially because they worked for it. Like, they've sunk time and energy into this campaign, you know. They deserve to be powerful for it if they want to be. And I don't know if it's safe to say that we can guarantee that the Barbarian will be nerfed. But it's a possibility. It just feels like it's strong. However, the Rogue is also like that. Like, the Rogue also got pretty much only buffs. And I didn't think the Rogue would be nerfed. So it really depends. I think, as a whole, all classes have received buffs. All classes are stronger than their 2014 counterparts. Even the Ranger. Because even though the Ranger has a disappointing amount of, like, lack of uniqueness and identity to it, I still think it's going to be stronger than it was before. So there's still that idea of everyone's getting a buff, which I think is cool. I think it's fun. It really lends itself to fun. And, yeah, so Barbarian obviously getting a bunch of strengths. Wizard getting a bunch of buffs as well, but mainly just a little bit more uniqueness in their subclasses. And more access to spells and more things that make wizards wizards, which is good, more identity. And clerics are just getting a bunch of, like, reworks and changes that are very interesting to see. Bunch of new prepared spells, change to Divine Intervention, and, yeah, Divine Strikes outside of domains, which is really, really cool. And buffs to subclasses. Huge buffs to subclasses, which I think is really, really impressive as well. Change to their channel divinity as well, like turn undead and destroy undead is, like, a very different thing now. So, yeah. And that's our foray into the 2024 Player's Handbook for today. Without further ado, I'm not going to waffle around a little bit longer. I'd love to hear what you guys think. So let me know what you think in the Discord. But for now, I think we'll end for today because my brain is soup. I've been reading for nearly 2 hours straight now, which is like my jaw hurts. So I'm going to give that a bit of a rest and shut the fuck up for a while. So thank you. Thank you, Ash. I'm going to hang out for a while if you're still around.
Yeah.
So I will see you in a bit. But thanks for just being here. I appreciate your presence. And I'll see you in a couple minutes. Goodbye. Everyone, thank you. Thank you once again for tuning into the Everything GM broadcast. I appreciate your attendance. No matter how you've arrived here, know that you've been welcome. And no matter how you've interacted with the stream, if you're watching the VOD in the future, if you're live now, if you've been lurking in chat, just know that you are very appreciated. And I want you to go on and have yourself a wonderful day. If you don't have a wonderful day, that's okay. We all have bad days. And I hope you get through it. You can do it. You got this. So thank you. Make sure you stay hydrated. Be kinder to yourself than you're currently being. And get hyped for Star Wars Outlaws. Because this time on Thursday, we might just be playing it. Thank you once again. And I'll see you in the next stream where we do it all over again. Take care.